Good evening and welcome to the BBC News at 6. Investigators in the US have recovered the data recorder from the ship that crashed into a major bridge in the city of Baltimore yesterday, leading to its collapse. They are hoping it will explain why the vessel lost power soon after leaving the city's port. 6 maintenance workers who fell into the water when the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed are now presumed dead. Here's our North America correspondent, Gary O'Donoghue. The amount of sewage dumped into rivers and seas in England has increased dramatically and reached record levels. In 2022, the Environment Agency says there were 1.75 million hours of spills into rivers and the sea. But last year, that figure more than doubled to 3.6 million hours. Water UK, which represents sewage companies, said the spills were unacceptable, but the record levels were down to long periods of heavy rain. Our environment correspondent Jonah Fisher. A new mural by the street artist Banksy in North London has now been covered up after it was vandalized. Now, a sculpture of the late Duke of Edinburgh in Cambridge is going to be taken down by Cambridge City Council. It says this bronze artwork of Prince Philip, known as the Don, was erected on its current site last year without planning permission, and it has now ordered the company behind it to take it down by August. Here's our culture reporter, Noor Nan. Time now for a look at the weather. Thomas Shafanaka, hello.
Let's see what's coming our way tomorrow. I tell you what, it's going to be a real picture.
We need a bit of sunshine, Thomas. That's it from the BBC News at 6. You can keep up to date with all the latest developments on the BBC website. It's time now to join our colleagues for the news where you are. Goodbye. Good evening. In the last few moments, the authorities in the US say that 2 bodies have now been recovered following the Baltimore bridge collapse yesterday. Investigators have also found the data recorder from the ship that crashed into the bridge. They are hoping it will explain why the vessel lost power soon after leaving the city's port. 6 maintenance workers who fell into the water when the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed are all presumed dead. Our North America correspondent Gary O'Donoghue joins us now. It's a plausible case that Israel is using starvation as a weapon of war. That's according to the United Nations' most senior human rights official, Volker Turk. He says, if proven, that would amount to a war crime. Humanitarian agencies are calling for an immediate ceasefire and large deliveries of aid in Gaza, where a famine is looming. Israel insists it's letting in all the humanitarian aid that is needed. From Jerusalem, here's our international editor, Jeremy Bowen, and his report contains upside. The amount of sewage dumped into rivers and seas in England has increased dramatically, reaching record levels. In 2022, the Environment Agency says there were 1.75 million hours of spills into rivers and the sea. But last year, that figure more than doubled to 3.6 million hours. While it is legal to do so during exceptional weather, campaigners say it poses a risk to people and wildlife. Water UK, which represents sewage companies, said the spills were unacceptable, but the record levels were down to long periods of heavy rain. Here's our environment correspondent. Well, rowers in this weekend's university boat race in London have been warned not to go into the Thames after high levels of E. coli were detected in the river. The crews from Oxford and Cambridge have also been told to cover up blisters and open wounds. The pressure group River Action said tests indicate that the E. coli comes from sewage directly discharged into the Thames. Thames Water said improving river health was a key focus for the firm. Here's Ellie Price. The artist Richard Serra, who created these monumental steel sculptures that have appeared all around the world over the past 50 years, has died at the age of 85. He was nicknamed the Poet of Iron and is credited with reinventing sculpture by placing simple but huge arrangements of upright slabs and shapes in the ground which people can walk around. Serra, who was born in San Francisco, said he was inspired by the steel hulls at the shipyard where his father worked. His rusting works can still be seen in cities including London, Berlin and New York. Football now, and Chelsea are through to the semi-finals of the Women's Champions League. A draw in the second leg of their last 8 match against Ajax, enough to give them a 4-1 aggregate victory at Stamford Bridge. Joe Curry was. Time now for a look at the weather with Thomas Shafanaka, who's trying to make us a little bit happy with the rainbow. It's not going to work, though, I don't think.
No, I didn't think it would. It's a case of big clouds and big gusts of wind. That's
Thomas, thank you. And that's it from the BBC News at 10 on BBC One. It's time to join our colleagues for the news where you are. Good night.